Hi guys, welcome to the channel. I'd appreciate if you'd subscribe, like, and share. It doesn't cost anything and it's a huge boost to the channel. I've got a bunch of videos for you today on Iran and all of the crazy that's going on there right now. Let's start with Marco Rubio was in front of the Foreign Relations Committee this morning. Let's take a look at what Secretary of State Marco Rubio had to say.
I'm going to start, and I'm going to say thank you for the work you've done with respect to Iran. We all of us that have worked on this for years know how frustrating that is, how difficult it is to work with this regime who've sponsored terrorism, kidnapping, and killed thousands of Americans for the last 47 years. Thank you for doing something about it. I know you and the president are doing all you can to ensure this comes to a close sooner rather than later. I wonder if you could give us at least a brief update on where we are.
Well, first, let me remind everybody that while I've not been before this committee since, I believe, February, when we briefed on the Venezuela operation, I have appeared on multiple occasions here, both in my role as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State, in both all Senate briefings multiple times, Gang of 8 briefings, Gang of 16 briefings. So we've talked about this topic with some of you in those settings in the past that you've heard from us. Let me just lay the predicate here, okay? Iran's desire to build a nuclear weapon was going to be effectuated behind a conventional shield. They were going to build for themselves so many missiles, so many drones, so many conventional weapons, including a navy, that at that point there's nothing you could do about it. What they tried to do is they were going to try to build a conventional shield and hide behind that conventional shield and basically say to the world, if you come and do anything about our nuclear program, we will overwhelm you with missiles, we will overwhelm you with drones, and we will overwhelm you with our navy, and you will not win. You will not be able to do anything about it. They were seeking that point of immunity, which is why the president chose to act, to deny them that point of immunity. Operation Epic Fury, some of you didn't like it, some of you did, was highly successful in achieving its military objectives, which is dramatically reducing the defense industrial base of Iran, the ability to build these missiles and to build these drones, especially the missiles program, substantially degraded. A substantial percentage, and I'll leave the exact numbers to the Department of War because I'm not a general and I'm not here to speak as a military planner, but a substantial degradation in the number of launchers that they have as well. They still have a lot of drones because these are easy to make. We all know it's not an Iran challenge. This is a global challenge, and it's playing out every single day around the world. I mean, Mexican cartels are using UAVs against each other. We should imagine at some point may even use it against our interests. So this is a pervasive problem around the world. The economics of it are something we have to solve for. But nonetheless, even their drone building capability has been eroded. Today, there is no Iranian Navy. There is no such thing. There's a bunch of Boston whalers with machine guns on them, but there is no Navy. There is no Iranian Navy. It lies at the bottom of the ocean and will soon, within a number of years, be prime fishing spots because they'll turn into reefs. So my whole point is that the Iranian conventional shield has been substantially eroded. Now, in the aftermath of that, two things have happened. The first is they entered into a ceasefire. They agreed, we agreed to stop. But part of that agreement was that they would reopen the straits. They did not, at which point the president decided, and I think appropriately, we can't have a world in which only Iranian ships get through the straits. And so if they're going to shut down the straits for everybody, we're going to shut down the straits for them. And we have done that through a very effective blockade and, by the way, through the seizure of sanctioned ships in the Indo-Pacific as well. The cost to Iran every single day in lost revenue is in the hundreds of millions of dollars that they are losing in lost revenue that they're not generating as a result of that.
Okay. I loved his statement there. He's so on point. Look at, they already had enough 60% enriched uranium to make 11 weapons. And for the people who say they don't have it, well, why? If they didn't have it, why are they fighting so hard? They'd have a deal right now if they said, come in and look at our uranium. But they won't, or they haven't thus far. So they definitely got it. And so everybody understands the 20% is the minimum to make a nuclear weapon, okay? There's issues at 20%. It's not as easy. We work with 90%. They're at 60 to 80, okay? Which means that some of it is 80 and some of it is 60, about 1,000 pounds worth. We do not want to be in a world where they have long-range missiles and can build a weapon. That's just not a world anyone wants to live in, because look at the type of things that Iran will do. And I'll give you a real quick example. I didn't even know that I was going to show this, but let me show it to you. This is a video just showing the way that Iran deals with their people. And, fair warning, it's brutal. Not the video, but because you know what's happening. And you'll notice there's some guys that have like a paintball gun, but that's not what you're hearing. Check it out. Sorry, technical difficulties. Let me go ahead and get him off of there. And here we go. All right, that's enough of that. But that's like Tehran in the middle of the streets. And it went on and it went on and it went on. And they're just shooting into the crowd. They are, I guess, trying to teach the public a lesson. And what's that lesson? Don't be around when we come out, because we're going to punish anybody, whether you did something wrong or not. That's how a military dictatorship works. Okay, now I'm going to give you an update on what's happened in the last couple days. Before I do that, this is pretty short. Let's take a look at this.
Just carried out a new wave of strikes in Iran. The Pentagon confirming to Fox that U.S. forces struck 4 Iranian drones posing a threat to the Strait. CENTCOM also bombing an Iranian military site that was seconds away from launching a 5th drone. We're told these strikes were purely defensive and intended to maintain the ceasefire, quote.
Okay, so now let's describe what's going on. On May 27th, the U.S. strikes an Iranian drone control facility near Bandar Abbas, following the shootdown of a MQ-9 Reaper over the Strait of Hormuz. On May 28th, Iran fires a ballistic missile at Ali al-Salam Air Base in Kuwait. Patriot batteries take it out, but falling debris wound 4 American servicemen and 1 contractor and destroy 2 drones worth $60 million. Those are total losses. June 1st, Iran fires 2 more ballistic missiles at Ali al-Salam Air Base. Both are intercepted. No harm, no damage. Same day, Iran launches a cruise missile that hit a cargo ship, the Leon Star. Just a totally punitive action. It's a cargo ship. Iran's goal is the mainstream media in the U.S., which they've definitely got on their side. They pump out disinformation constantly. Nothing but grift and gaslighting. And I'm going to show you a post by Trump on this very subject in just a minute. So here's the Iranian playbook. They want to make the Strait uninsurable. Like they want Lloyd's of London to say, no, we won't insure anybody who wants to take any product through the Strait, jack up gas prices. They want to cause the world real pain. So the deputy head of Iran's Central Military Command, Mohammad Jafar Asidi, said the United States demands our total surrender. His statement was the Iranian nation will never surrender. And what he really means is the IRGC and the mullahs will never surrender. Remember, their president Iran's president just tried to resign because he said, hey, I don't have any control in these negotiations. What am I doing? And the IRGC came back the next day and said, sorry, but you're not resigning. That's a military dictatorship. Okay. But there's good news here and all that, and I'm going to get to it. Remember, without surrender, war is inevitable. It's going to happen. It's 100%. The two previous commanders to this guy in his position during this whole conflict have already been killed. They're gone. I don't think they understand that if they continue this rhetoric, they're going to end up the same way. How is Iran still doing this, you might ask? How can we take this capability from them? The THAAD hits our THAAD system is one of three areas of defense that we have, okay? It hits ballistic missiles at Mach 8. It doesn't have a warhead. It uses just kinetic energy. We have batteries in Saudi Arabia and Qatar, but a limited number of missiles, of course. And with all of this, there's a limited number of missiles. That's layer one. Layer two, the Patriot Pac-2. Arleigh Burke class destroyers. They're sitting offshore, and they're firing SM-3 missiles in their, taking out these ballistic missiles in their boost phase, and that's stage 3. So we have all three of these levels of defense. We have a 90 to 92% interception rate across the whole system. Okay, so not much is getting through, but obviously if you hit a missile and the debris falls and injures people, that's part of it. You can't avoid that. Iran has massive bunkers in the Zagros Mountains where they've stocked up these missiles for years. As you heard Marco Rubio say, they're making thousands and thousands of these a year and squirreling them away inside of a mountain so that they can, pull them out real quick, shoot a couple, and hopefully in their, viewpoint, hide back in the mountain. Well, I don't think that that's going to be the end game for them. I think that we've got a little something for them. They're going to run into the B-2 and our bunker buster missiles, okay? And they're also going to run into the F-15 because it can carry a 5,000-pound bunker buster. And I think, they formally announced, Iran has, that they're all done with negotiations. Well, when negotiations end, you basically end up in war. But after they say that, what do? Well, they're skirting the line of not violating the ceasefire. And the reason is, like I told you in the last video, this is their magic trick. They're going to try to not be in an open conflict for as long as possible. They're just trying to buy time, dig their missiles out, and cause as much damage as they can because it's a military dictatorship and they're pissed off. They're not getting their $500 million a day in oil revenue, and they don't have the ultimate control anymore. They have a blockade outside their country. They can't move products. They can't really do much of anything right now except for attack their neighbors. The United States carried out new military strikes on Iranian military sites, targeting air defenses, a ground control station, and attack drones over the weekend and to yesterday. The fragile ceasefire enacted on in April is now at the brink of collapse, as I said, following the latest rounds of back and forth attacks. Iran officially suspended all peace negotiations with the U.S. on Monday. The latest military strikes, according to CENTCOM, are going to wait until they've crossed the line, and then those strikes, I'm sure, are going to I'm pretty certain that's where we're headed, back towards hitting them again at full scale. I don't see any way around that. I have a couple more videos I want to show you guys because these are really interesting. Here is, I believe this is a video. It's very short, but this is us taking out one of their radar stations, their command and control. Check it out. Boom. And you just see propellant flying everywhere. I've made this video far too long that I wanted to in the beginning. This is we hit one of their refining stations apparently, and I'm not going to show the whole thing, but take a look at this. This is like when you ignite crude oil, this is what happens. That's a big area that's on fire. All right. So this is Trump's statement here. If Iran surrenders, admits their navy is gone and resting at the bottom of the sea, and their air force is no longer with us, and if their entire military walks out of Tehran, weapons dropped and hands held high, each one shouting, I surrender, while wildly waving the representative white flag, and if their entire remaining leadership signs all necessary documents of surrender and admit their defeat to the great power and force of the magnificent United States of America, the failing New York Times and the China Street Journal, corrupt and now irrelevant CNN, and all other members of the fake news media, with the headline that Iran had a masterful and brilliant victory over the United States of America. It wasn't even close. The Democrats and media have totally lost their way. They have gone absolutely crazy. President Donald John Trump. And you guys, that's the truth. That's really where we're at. There is nothing Trump can do that's good in their eyes. They spin everything against him. And unfortunately, it's not just against him. When they spin this war against him, whether you agree with it or not, they're hurting you and I. That's what they accomplish, and that's disgusting. So I'm glad to have all you guys here, because I think when you watch mainstream media, you just get dumber by the minute. Guys, I appreciate you being with me. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.